Hello all, this is Cinematic Breakdown and I will be your omnipotent voice for the evening. Now, before we begin, I want to let you know, the moment I mention any film ever, it will soon be followed by spoilers. So, you've been warned. So keep an eye open, or you might hear something you don't want to. Anyway, today's discussion will be on the concept of raising the stakes, or more specifically, why this is wrong and you should completely lower them. The idea of raising the stakes is probably the first thing taught to any writer or filmmaker of any kind. Whatever you're doing, make it more intense. Push it as far as you can go in order to drive the audience further and further with their emotions. The fear, the anxiety, the excitement, the sadness, drag the audience to the edge of their seat and then hit them hard. However, the fact that is lost on many is just what exactly builds this rush in the first place, and the misunderstanding of this has led to a plague of cardboard cutouts parading as excitement personified. The grossest version of this that I've seen in recent years is from the newest adaptation of the Alice in Wonderland story. And just to date this video, that's the one that's called Alice Through the Looking Glass, which was written by Linda Woolverton and directed by James Bobbin. Now, I'm probably mispronouncing both those names as I often do, so here they are in print. Anyway, in this bit here, which is the exciting conclusion, the moment where everything collides, all is on the table, and the heroes are fighting tooth and nail with everything they have to save the day. And I simply do not give the slightest hint of a shit. You see, for those of you who have not seen this movie, what is happening here is that Alice, the Mad Hatter, and others are using this machine to travel through time and space in order to save the entire fabric of reality. Now, for reasons I'm not going to get into, time is eating itself, and anything that's ever existed will be destroyed. Now, I don't know how much this cost, but it had some serious world-class talent attached to every inch of it. What it didn't have was any semblance of emotion. Me, and I imagine every other person ever to see this, simply did not care. The reason is, people can't imagine something that large. Show someone's favorite guitar catching on fire, and you feel for them. Show an entire continent reduced to rubble, and you think, wow, that's a lot of rubble. It's just simply not possible to feel empathy for something you don't connect with. So watching all of existence turn to ash before us on the ride Alice is taking, yeah, we understand this is bad, but me, you, and everyone else knows, no one person was actually concerned. No one felt bad, scared, worried, anxious. It all looks very well done. Clearly the people behind these visuals are masters of their craft. But their craft is supposed to be there to serve the movie. They're tools used to tell a story. However, this devolved into a slideshow of pretty effects. If, instead of this, they had gone for something much smaller, then people could have related to it. In the movie Blue Jasmine, for instance, which is by Woody Allen, there's really nothing major at stake in any way. You have a woman who wants to date a good man, but has her sister in her ear telling her the one she has isn't good enough. Then, you have the sister herself, whose only real problem is a severe drop in social status, which, to her, led to depression, anxiety, and when bad, she gets lost in her own head and completely disconnects from reality. But that's it. That's all that's being risked, that's all that's on the table, even if everything that could possibly go wrong does. We'll have one person who is a very lonely single mom, and another who needs medication and a shrink. Now, for these people, their loneliness and sanity are massive issues. As an individual going through this, it's scary. Your future is uncertain, grip on the world around you is slipping, you're questioning the people you're supposed to trust. It's a seriously scary position to be in. And we, the audience, are there with them. We feel this. We worry when Jasmine's talking to herself on the street, and we feel embarrassed when people see her. This connection is vital. It's not possible to fear losing what you've never had, and in order for a loss to be felt, first a connection must be established with that which will be lost. In the movie Sling Blade, a man is released from a mental hospital and finds himself taken in by a family. In it, the stepfather is abusive, and the main character ends up having to take care of him. Now, throughout the movie, the father never tries to kill them, he never beats them, he never tries to burn their house down or starve them or lock them in the basement, nothing. He's just a dick. But when he's not being a dick, he tells jokes, he plays music with his friends, he even invites people he doesn't like with him when he goes out, as a show of good faith.
Come on, Carl, go with us.
In fact, in one of the very few times he ever actually gets elevated, and you think something bad might happen, the kid attacks him, throwing books and bottles at him, and what does he do? He doesn't get up, walk across the room, and beat the shit out of him. He calms down.
All right, okay, I'm gonna leave now.
Realizes he went too far and apologizes.
I'm gonna go home and sober up. I can't explain what goes on. I'll call you tomorrow. I'm sorry, honey.
You get the real sense he doesn't want to be a bad guy. He just has a temper and he isn't able to control it. But he wants to, and he feels bad about everything he does afterwards. So you feel bad for the child and the mother who have to suffer under him, but you also feel bad for the man himself. When the kid has his moment and steps up against him, it's not a good moment. It's not proud or happy or strong. The kid is weak. The father is weak. The whole scene is just sad and you feel it in your gut. The reason you feel this is because the connection built with each character. You want the kid to actually stand up and defend, but you know that all he did amounted to a show, and if the father wanted, he could squash him. You want the mother to step in and protect her child, but she just stands by idly doing nothing. And you want the father to learn his lesson and change, but you know, even as he says he will, that he won't. Not that he's lying, but that he simply can't. Now, when I say these problems are small, I don't mean they're insignificant. I just mean that the scope of it is small. These are problems that only affect individuals, not whole nations. So, to this specific family, this is a nightmare they're living through. But it's just one family. The world around them isn't on fire. There are other examples of deep emotions brought on by small scale problems. Big to those involved personally, but only to those involved personally. People walk past the homeless without a second thought all the time. Every day, without exaggeration. But when you're the homeless person, every day is a struggle to survive. In The Fisher King and in The Soloist, we meet two such homeless people. And suddenly, the regular daily act of being homeless is suddenly an emotionally wrenching experience. It's sad, it's funny, it's heartwarming, it's very intimate. But with little exception, there is never a single moment that someone walking past would be shocked at. If you were just a stranger walking down the street and you saw any scene from any of these movies, you wouldn't think, oh, what a heart-wrenching thing. You'd think, fucking bum, and keep on moving. But when you're connected to them, you feel what they feel. In A Serious Man, a man feels like his life is lacking and wants to be something more. Not a hero or celebrity or even someone of influence. Just simply someone who's able to be taken seriously as a person. Not be disregarded. That's all. In A Little Miss Sunshine, a little girl wants to perform at a beauty pageant, but she might not get to. It's not complex issues. When you make something unimaginably large, people can't imagine it. When you make something so devastatingly awful, people stop processing it. Keeping problems localized increases the ability of the audience to understand them, and therefore raises the drama for them. When you're writing a story and you're thinking, how do I raise the stakes here? Don't just raise the number of victims or the amount of devastation. Minimize it, centralize it, localize it. And I know, some movies are massive in scale. Superheroes movies tend to have this problem. If these heroes fail, a city will be blown up. If these heroes fail, the planet will be destroyed. If those heroes fail, the whole universe will be destroyed. But think about the superhero movies that stand out as truly exceptional. One of the highest rated superhero movies, The Dark Knight, is actually a perfect example of this. In it, no one's trying to destroy the galaxy. They're not even trying to destroy a city or even a town. The Joker just wants to create an existential crisis within the citizens. Even his widespread destruction is limited to a single bank that he robs in the beginning, the blowing up of a hospital that even he knows has been completely evacuated, and then planting bombs on two boats with a fair amount of people in them. But in terms of city destruction, it's not that big. If his plan had worked and the boats exploded, on the worldwide tragedy level, would have been reported in the news, talked about for a while, and then just become another terrorist attack that happened. Now, to begin the portion where I start repeating myself a whole bunch. Show me a family on the edge of destruction, and I'll feel bad for them. Show me a list of 50,000 names of people on the edge of destruction, and I'll recognize it as something that's bad. But I won't actually emotionally connect with any of them. Show me an entire planet about to be destroyed, and I'll think, wow, it's a pretty planet. I wonder what the explosion will look like. Stop writing stories where everything is on the table. People can't wrap their heads around everything. Don't raise the stakes. raise the emotion, raise the connection. And to do that, localize, minimize, zoom in to gain insight into the detail and the perception of those involved. And never forget, kick a dog, everyone hates you. Kill 10 million dogs, and people are just surprised you were actually able to find 10 million dogs.